In amongst that will be the marking of 50 years since Margaret Court won her 1970 Grand Slam. Tennis Australia making that announcement this week, and in that statement, to mark this historic occasion, Margaret Court, along with her family and friends, has been invited to the Australian Open 2020 as a special guest and to participate in a significant program of events throughout the tournament. And they go on to say, as often stated, Tennis Australia does not agree with Margaret's personal views, which have demeaned and hurt many in our community over a number of years. They do not align with our values of equality, diversity and inclusion, because as we know, and it's been debated on this show as well, she is opposed to same-sex marriage. How's this situation been handled, and is it fraught with danger leading into January?
No, I think it needed to be taken care of right now. It needed to be laid out on the table. I think the board and Tennis Australia have made a really good decision here. Those two statements say exactly what needed to be done. You know, diversity, equality, all of those words are hugely important to us. We've got Dylan Alcott going out there doing his stuff with wheelies. We have same-sex couples playing on tour. We have all of those things, and yes, let's celebrate Margaret's unbelievable wins. They were fantastic, but it's time to just not give her the platform.
It's a really great victory in the age of social media, two sides shouting at each other, never coming together. It's a really great victory for the middle path, which is somehow reconciling two opposing camps and being able to recognise someone's contribution while also hold your ground. Bravo to Tennis Australia, particularly as I've devoted the last 12 months of my career writing about a sport that can't quite do that. Very different cases, Israel Folau and Margaret Court, very different, but still it gives you hope that in this shouty world we can find a middle road.
Nothing wrong with a shouty world. I couldn't feed my family if it wasn't a shouty world.
True.
Todd, you're a leading member of the Australian tennis community. She is a leading member of the Australian tennis community. Have you ever tried to sit down, to be on the press releases and say, Margaret, please, you know, on this stuff, you're so out of kilter, you're wrong. Have you ever tried personal talking to her?
I spoke to Margaret at the Fed Cup, but not about what you're talking about.
Why didn't you try? Wasn't it your duty to try?
That would be hugely arrogant. I mean,
why?
Like, because it's her religious belief.
It's homophobic gibberish.
For sure it might be, but it's a religious belief, and I think it would be...
Well, I have religious friends, and I talk to my religious friends and say, this is nonsense. You must know this is nonsense.
And if you come at it with, you're wrong, I think you probably don't get very far.
If you say that gays are going to hell,
explain to me your position.
Wrong.
Perhaps Todd started with that.
Wrong.
But you can say that, Fitzy.
I do.
And you do regularly. I don't know that Margaret Court is going to listen to you.
But I'm interested in Todd because Todd is a peer, you know, to talk to her personally, to say you're doing yourself damage, you're doing tennis damage, please stop.
I don't think Margaret would listen to me.
But shouldn't you try?
There are people that have tried to get that message across, but it hasn't worked. And she's a very strong individual, has been her entire career, and she hasn't taken heed of that yet. I think what this statement does, though, it's taken away the platform that she can use her tennis to drive her other views, and that's hugely important. This separates them. You take those views elsewhere, but you're not going to be able to use those during the Australian Open.
So how did Tennis Australia manage this, Todd, at the Australian Open? Because there are going to be people there who are incredibly supportive of her, but there's going to be people there who she has hurt with her comments.
The thing is, she will be honoured. Tennis Australia went over to her place in Perth. They've done a lovely documentary about her tennis, and that will be played during the Australian Open. All of the results will be recognised, and that's that.
Yeah, but then, you can't control the crowd's reaction.
No, I don't know. I would hope that the crowd applaud her performances.
And come out in rainbow colours.
It's going to be interesting. Mr. Speaker, just a point of order. When you say I can't say to... No, a serious point. When you say I can't say to religious people you're wrong,
no,
religious people say to me, religious people proselytise to me all the time, trying to make me believe...
My position is that you can't... is not that you can't say you're wrong. My position is that you won't get very far talking to people and understanding them by that being your opening salvo. You're wrong, please shut up.
But do you say to religious people that proselytise to the likes of me, which they do all the time to atheism, you know, what Folau does is all you non-believers are going to go to hell. Do you say that to him? Why do you say it to me? I mean, we're all adults, we're having a discussion.
No, I was just saying if you want to come from a point, you want to get to a point where you understand Margaret Court or you do want to bring her back into the fold, I'm sure Tennis Australia did not go into her house and say, you're wrong, please shut up.